Well, President Cyril Ramaphosa has raised concerns about civil servants who are involved in corruption and maladministration. Writing in his weekly newsletter published today, the president said his government has no place for corrupt civil servants. There have been several stories in recent months about public servants involved in the PPE tender corruption. Last month, a senior Gauteng Health Department employee, Babita Deokaran, was gunned down outside her home. She was helping the Special Investigating Unit investigate corruption within the department. But Ramaphosa says he takes solace in the fact that many good public servants are still doing their jobs with due diligence. But the question is this due diligence enough? When we eventually head to the polls, we need to decide who will lead South Africa's 8 metropolitans, our 44 districts and 200 local municipalities. Local government has a direct impact on our day-to-day lives and also seems to be where corruption can go unchecked for a very long time. And municipal corruption can have a massive impact on service delivery. Between 2012 and 2020, Corruption Watch received over 32,000 whistleblower reports. The most common form of corruption at local level is bribery, closely followed by procurement irregularities. Well, Melusi Ncala speaks to this as he hedges the country's democracy being left unprotected. He speaks to us now. Melusi, thank you so much for joining us. Corruption seems to be, we focus very much on a national level, big national scandals, but most of the maladministration, unlawful expenditure, bribery, etc., is happening at municipal level.
Good morning, Annika, and good morning to the viewers, and thank you for having us this morning. Yes, it is so that we often focus on the grand or political corruption stories, and there are a number of reasons why we should, but we should also pay attention to what's happening at the local level, because this is where basic services are received. This is where government directly interacts with its citizenry. And what we have found, at least based on 16% of the 33,000 cases of corruption that we received between 2012 and the end of 2020, is that there are acts of corruption in the office of the municipal manager, as well as in housing departments, as well as in the policing structures as well. And it's quite dire because it has affected communities adversely. In a sense, you know, when we talk about water and sanitation, or when we talk about the lack of development in infrastructure, we find that it's because of corruption why these things are not happening.
Who or what are the guardians of making sure that corruption doesn't happen at a municipal level? Where are the checks and balances?
Well, when you look at the structure of the municipality, at least it comprises of an administrative arm and a political arm. And we as the citizens, of course, we go and elect our ward councillors and our mayors, and they in turn go and recruit a municipal manager who will have oversight on what's happening in terms of procurement and so on. So, you know, it's a multi-layered process. And as much as I would like to say that the buck often stops with the mayors or the municipal manager, at times we also need to consider our role as citizens to say that what kind of people are we putting in council? What kind of people are we saying we trust with the power to actually govern us within our communities?
So the time really is coming up to now where we get to, make a tick and decide during municipal elections over about who gets to make the change and who will be running our municipalities. Should there be tighter measures in place for instance, procurement and tenders in municipal level?
I mean, a lot of the power is concentrated within the municipal manager's office. But, you know, it's a matter of them not just following due process, but also not trusting that they'll be held accountable. So it's at least from our concern is that we think there needs to be more accountability. Law enforcement needs to do its duties in holding various people accountable, because as the late Auditor General mentioned in his last report, over 32 billion rand was irregularly spent by municipalities. So it tells you the extent to which corruption is found in local government.
How much of the unlawful expenditure is related to corruption or just poor governance?
I mean, we found that, as you mentioned in your introduction, Annika, there's issues of bribery, there's issues of procurement corruption. And so when you look at procurement corruption, which is almost a quarter of the corruption cases that we have received in relation to local government, we found that those people serving us in municipalities, or are supposed to serve us at least, are willfully flouting processes. So in some instances, you find that there are companies who repeatedly get tenders, but they get tenders on the basis that they are more than willing to pay 10% in kickbacks. In some instances, these companies, for example, in the city of Cape Town, they were more than willing to double bill the state. So, these are the kind of cases that we're looking at. Are there issues of maladministration? Sure, there are, but there's also gross abuse of power.
All right, 32 billion rand lost. That should have gone to making our cities a better place. That's very worrying. Thank you so much, Melusi Ncala, Corruption Watch researcher.